You've booked your cruise, but should you book your shore excursion through the cruise line? Ahoy, travelers! It's Amy with Cruising from the Ozarks, and I have 4 reasons to book your next shore excursion through the cruise line, and 3 where you shouldn't. There are some very good reasons to book your shore excursions through the cruise line instead of one of the reputable shore excursion websites. The number one reason to book a shore excursion through the cruise line is that the cruise line will wait for you if your tour group is late to return to the port. This is a big one, and it's probably the main reason most people have for choosing to book through the cruise line. Nobody wants the ship to sail away without them. So having that extra little bit of security to know that if something does happen, you're not going to be left behind is sometimes worth the extra cost. Number 2, cruise lines vet the tour companies they use for their excursions. Prior to offering excursions, lines will test out new tour companies and excursions by sending crew members on the excursions before offering them to cruisers. Knowing that these tour companies have been checked out and vetted by the lines offer a level of confidence that excursion should be a good one. Number 3, sometimes cruise lines will actually send a crew member along on the excursion as a representative of the line. Something like a secret shopper that you would have in a store. They're there to continue to vet the tour company and make sure that excursions are up to the standards expected by the cruise line. And number 4, another big reason to choose a cruise line excursion is because if something goes wrong, you're going to be more likely to get a refund. If you miss a port due to weather or some other reason, a shore excursion booked through the line is going to be refunded without a lot of hoops to jump. It isn't always the case if you book through another agency. The same is true if the expectations of the excursion are not met. You have a better recourse to get at least some of your money back. Before we get to the reasons not to book an excursion through the cruise line, if you enjoy this video and maybe even learned something, be sure to let us know by commenting and giving this video a thumbs up. It only takes a second, and doing so helps cruisers like you find us. Now, before you hit purchase on the cruise line excursion, let's go through some good reasons not to book through the line. One of the main reasons people choose to book their excursion with someone other than the cruise line is the cost. You will pay a premium for excursions booked through the cruise lines. The exact same excursion can cost a fraction of what the line will charge when booked directly or through a shore excursion company. An example of this would be on our recent cruise, the Norwegian Breakaway. We had a $50 credit for one person on any excursion booked through Norwegian. However, there wasn't a single excursion available that wasn't cheaper elsewhere, even with that $50 discount. Number 2, tours booked through cruise lines are often fairly crowded. When booking a tour through the cruise line, unless you choose an expensive private tour, you will usually find yourself on a large tour bus full of other cruisers. I found when it comes to popular excursions, you will often find that cruise lines work with large tour companies that have big tour buses. We recently went on an excursion to some popular ruins that wasn't booked through the cruise line. We were in a small group of 6 people in a van. However, when we showed up to the ruins, there were multiple giant buses from the same tour group. You could tell because they were all the same color, everything was exactly the same. And these are the big buses that hold like 50 people or more. I could tell that they were full of people from our cruise ship. I recognized some of them, and I highly suspect it was booked through the cruise line. Personally, I'd rather be in a small tour group. And the third reason to look at booking an excursion outside of what the cruise line offers is the ability to personalize your excursion. While you can sometimes book private tours through the line, they're often very expensive. However, I found that you can book private tours that you can personalize to your specifications, at least on the Caribbean islands, for a reasonable price if you look at local tour groups. While I don't usually book our excursions through the cruise line, there are a few reasons I would choose to spend that extra money. If we're going on an excursion far away from the port that takes up most of the time that we are to be at port, then I want that security that comes with booking through the line. I don't want to worry about our bus breaking down and the ship sailing away without us. If I decide to go on an excursion by myself, then I would probably book through the line for that added safety. Another reason I might book with the line is if I have onboard credit to spend and nowhere else to spend it. And of course, if the only excursion I can find that offers the experience I want is offered by the cruise line, I'm going to book it. Do you usually book through the line? If not, do you have a favorite company you use to book your excursions? I'll drop a few reputable companies in the description below. Why not check out this video on solo excursions and then come back for more information designed to help you have an amazing cruise. Have a blessed week, everyone.